A janitor who never earned more than $12 an hour just died and left behind $8 million. Nobody, not even his closest friends, had any idea. When Ronald Read died in 2014 in a small town in Vermont, the people who knew him were expecting a simple, quiet funeral. He was 92. He had worked as a gas station attendant for 25 years, then as a janitor at J.C. for another 17. He wore flannel shirts held together with safety pins. He drove a used Toyota Yaris. He ate breakfast at the same local diner every single day and never ordered anything expensive. Then the lawyers opened his estate, and the room went silent. Ronald Read had an investment portfolio worth over $8 million. A man who mopped floors for a living had more money than most doctors, lawyers, and MBAs will ever accumulate in their lifetimes. This is not a story about luck. He did not win the lottery. He did not inherit anything. He did not start a secret business on the side. What he did was far simpler and far more powerful. Ronald Read bought blue-chip stocks. That is it. Companies like Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, J.P. Morgan, General Electric. He bought shares regularly, starting in the 1960s, and he never sold. Not during the crash of 1987. Not during the dot-com bust. Not during 2008. He just kept buying and he never ever sold. His strategy had no name. He had no financial advisor. He made his decisions by reading the Wall Street Journal at the local library because he was too frugal to buy his own subscription. He kept track of his stocks on handwritten notes, stacks of paper that his attorney later found in shoeboxes and filing cabinets. Now here is what makes this story genuinely important. At the exact same time Ronald Read was quietly building his fortune, a man named Richard Foscone was living the opposite life. Foscone was a Harvard MBA, a former Merrill Lynch executive, one of the most connected financiers on the East Coast. He had a mansion in Connecticut, an 18,000-square-foot estate with 12 bathrooms, an elevator, and a pool. In 2008, Foscone went bankrupt. He defaulted on his mortgage. His estate went to foreclosure. He owed millions in debt. He filed for bankruptcy protection. Let that sink in. A janitor with no education, no connections, and no high income died with $8 million. A Harvard-educated executive with every possible advantage died broke. The difference was not intelligence. It was not access. It was not income. It was behavior. Ronald Read had one skill that Richard Foscone did not. Patience. The ability to start, keep going, and never interfere with the process. Most people think building wealth requires brilliance, some secret strategy, an edge, insider knowledge. But the data tells a completely different story. A study by Fidelity found that their best-performing investment accounts belonged to people who were either dead or had forgotten they had accounts. Literally. The best investors were the ones who did nothing. This is the most counterintuitive truth in finance and honestly in life. The greatest competitive advantage is not skill, it is temperament. It is the ability to sit still when every instinct tells you to move, to hold when everyone else is selling, to keep doing the boring thing while the world chases the exciting thing. Ronald Read understood this intuitively. He did not have a Bloomberg terminal. He did not attend investor conferences. He did not even talk about money. He just showed up, did his job, bought his shares, and waited. For 50 years. When he died, he left $2 million to his local library and $6 million to the local hospital. The same library where he used to read the newspaper he could not afford. The same town that never knew his name. There are thousands of Ronald Reads out there right now. People with modest incomes who will die with extraordinary wealth because they understood something that billion-dollar hedge funds still struggle with. The most powerful force in finance is not a strategy. It is time. If you subscribe, you will see the next story about a company that made billions by deliberately making their product worse. You will not believe the strategy.